Peace, family. Vie Darling, the Cosmic Queen and your intergalactic interpreter, and we are back for part 2 of what we can expect the equinox energies to bring, and what we can expect from the autumnal season this quarter of the year. Weren't the ancients just so effing smart to break it down into such a delineation? I personally gotta say I love it. So we're getting now into mind and themes that we're getting from mind. Aragonite. Find your center. Yeah, I feel like this is saying, like, don't focus so, in this season, like, stop focusing so much on what other people are doing, what other people are saying. If you watched the last video, then you know I talked about this. Like, you know, it's really about minding our own business. Somebody said to me, if I'm in somebody else's head, if I'm focused on... What did she say? Oh, so good. If I'm focused on what other people think, I'm out of my mind. If I am focusing on what other people think, I am out of my mind. I thought that was fucking phenomenal, fantastic. I thought that was incredible. Because, heck yeah. Like, literally, I am out of my mind. I'm here thinking about what other people are thinking when I should be thinking about myself. And look what we get. 2 swords. 9 of wands, 5 of cups, death in reverse. You know what? And then we get the Queen of Pentacles too. You know what this says to me? Is like, you have a choice to make. You have a choice to make. Are you going to choose this new life, or are you going to choose that same old stuff? Queen of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. You're going to choose this new life. And you already know that. You already know that you're choosing this new life. So when the situations come up, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I got to make a decision. I got to make a choice over and over and over again. When all of that is coming up, just choose the thing that is aligned with your new life. If it's not taking you a step closer to the life that you want to live, then it's not for you. It's not benefiting you. It's not helpful for you, okay? Find your center. In the last reading we were talking about, or in the Spirit and Consciousness Pie, we were talking about codependent relationships. We were talking about martyrdom. And this really comes down to, like, being in your integrity. Okay, are you in your integrity? Because if you are out, when you're focusing on what other people want from you, what other people think about you, and you're making decisions based on that, you're not making decisions based on your own integrity. And that, you know, that can mean like, oh, like, I think people can get really moralistic about that. But actually, it can even just be as simple as, like, I chose to do this kind of a job and this kind of career, and I went to school and invested money in this kind of a career, because that's what my parents wanted for me, but that's not what I want for myself. And now I'm miserable, and I hate my life, and I hate everything in it, and I'm mean to my wife, I'm mean to my kids, I'm mean to my partner. You know what I mean? Like, this is somebody. This is somebody I'm speaking about. It's just like, it's so common, it's so typical, and so many of us can relate to it. And I do want to point out that we did get that in the last pile, barite. Anyone who leaves for work each morning with the sinking suspicion that their true destiny is anything but this. So I do feel like Spirit is aligning us with our true destiny, but it is important for us to get clear on what that is and to really think about that. The more clarity we have around it, the easier it is for us to make the decisions that are going to allow us to come into union with it. But the more nebulous it is, the more confused we are, and the harder it is to make a decision in any given point in time. When you know who you are, you know what to do in any given situation. Oh, this person disrespected me. What am I going to do? If you know how you handle disrespect, You don't need to know what you're going to do. You're just going to do that thing. You know, it's like, oh, like all of these questions that can come up that can feel very confusing, where we get in our heads and we're thinking a bunch about it. Like, I mean, when we go through, I know Virgo season is over, but throughout the month of October, I know that we're going to have Venus in Virgo, and that's going to be triggering a lot of overthinking for us, especially about the things that we want and what we're attracted to and what we are attracting into our lives. And, you know, when we are in our integrity, and that really has a lot to do with Capricorn energy, that has a lot to do with Saturn energy, because it has to do with structures. And it has to do with our principles, and those relate to our values, which have to do with Venus. So Saturn is in Aquarius sidereally. It's in the 6th house, but it's in Pisces at 1 degree in the 6th house in tropical. So I do feel like there's going to be tests and challenges of our faith, of our ability to believe in the life that we want to live. And it's a transcendent principle that we are operating from. It's a transcendent principle. Maybe it's not one that everybody readily, actively sees in their lives. It might be something that nobody around you thinks that they've ever witnessed. It might be something that nobody around you thinks is real, but you know for you it is. I mean, for instance, a lot of people don't believe that transness is real. So, you know, there are going to be a lot of challenges. Maybe this is, for instance, this is a person who has recently come to the realization that they are trans, that they are of trans identity. And now they don't know what to do about it. Well, what we talked about with spirit and consciousness is like, you have to start choosing to love yourself more than anything else. Put yourself first as a child of God, because that's what a loving higher power would want you to do. That's who they made you to be. So they want you to do what you have to do to live that life. Okay. And so when you know that, when you have that as your core foundation, that you are meant to live a joyful life, a beautiful life, like when you are operating from the spark of joy, when you're operating from and living in the frequency of joy, and you are cultivating a life that activates that frequency, that keeps you in alignment with that vibration, then you are living a life that when you're operating from that, you get more of that back, and you're going to start to see how your life changes. And there might be some losses along the way, but honestly, it's really worthwhile to lose those things that are not good for you, because they're not good for you. They're not helping you at all. Aragonite, like tiny, like iron patinate flowers forged by tiny hammers. And this is it, like, you've been through so much to come out the other side as this beautiful being. You know, you've learned so much along your journey that has changed your mindset, your perception, and it's time to start operating from that. It's actually not as many choices as you think that there are, because you see there's only 2 swords here. Are you going to live in your integrity or not? Are you going to live in your integrity or not? Because there's this song, "On Christ the solid rock I stand, all other ground is sinking sand." And this is about integrity, okay? If I'm pretending to be someone I'm not, I'm building a house of lies. That is a faulty structure. That is a fraught foundation. And any gust of wind can come in and blow that to smithereens. So people who live outside their integrity are building houses of hay, of sticks, like the 3 little pigs. And they're going to have to come running to the person who builds their house out of bricks, even though they were the same ones making fun of them, even though they were the same ones clowning them. They're going to have to go back and ask for protection and sustenance and support from these people because the going got tough. And they were not tough, so they didn't get going. I'll say this much too, this is what's coming in, is Noah and the ark, and I think it's important to flag that a lot of the things that I predicted at the beginning of the year in Earth and our bodies and what we can expect for 2023 is coming true. The contamination of the water cycle. Recent study came out that clouds are full of microplastics, and the microplastics are then going into the ocean. It's in the water system. Go back and watch this video because I talk about it, and I made that in February, and it's going to contaminate. It's already contaminated the food, and that contaminates our bodies. I'm saying this to say there's a lot of other stuff that I talked about in those videos. And disasters, just really hard things happening for our quote-unquote civilization. And they're going to keep happening, and things are going to get worse before they get better. Because this is the earth purging itself of the toxins that we've injected upon it. And this is the removal of all of these sick entities and energies, right? So things are getting like that gust of wind, that wolf who's going to come and blow, huff and puff and blow your house down. That's what that is. The floodwaters, that are going to come and wipe out civilization. The heavenly fire that's going to rain down and destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, all of that, that's what that is. And when you've built a house out of brick, that is, the foundation is strong because you've built it out of brick. And you've built it on integrity. You've made your decisions. You've built a life from your integrity. And you can walk with conviction, and you can sleep at night knowing that you lived a life of integrity. You can die free knowing that you lived a life of integrity. That's what this is about, freedom. And know that your house isn't going to get blown down. You're going to be fine. Yeah, it may be like there's going to be excitement, there's probably going to be chaos, but you're the calm in the storm. Look at this, the third little pig. There's chaos going on all around him. There's a wolf on the loose. He's huffing and puffing and blowing people's houses down. He's destroying people's houses. This is dangerous. This is crazy stuff in their town going on. But he doesn't have anything to worry about because he has a brick house. You're not going to huff and puff and blow his brick house down. So do yourself a favor and stop wasting time and energy figuring out what you got to do. If you're thinking, oh, this scenario, that scenario, it's because you don't want to admit to what you know that you need to do because it's maybe challenging for you. But it's just wasting your time and other people's time as well. And you don't need to do that. It's because what's going to happen is you're going to end up way worse off if you continue to, waste time on things that you don't need to spend time thinking about so much. That's a waste of your time. That's a waste of your emotional energy. You know what to do. More so, make the decision and then do the emotional work to prepare yourself to implement it and then do it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to have all of the extra stuff because you're going to end up way better off. Everything, and yeah, I'm sensing some stagnation here. So it's really about, living with the consequences of our actions, and that's a lot of what's been coming up here. You know what I mean? That's a lot of what's been coming up here. No doubts about it. That's because we're entering into this season with the sun in tropical Libra. but it's actually at 5 degrees of Virgo in sidereal astrology. So this is about healing. This is about like looking back on reaping the fruits of our labor. It's about reaping the fruits of our labor. And then we're going to get into Scorpio season, and we're going to get into Sagittarius season, then we're going to get into Capricorn season. And as we start Capricorn season, that's going to take us into the winter. And that's going to be the winter solstice. So always think about the fact that like we're constantly sowing seeds. That's what we mean when we're constantly manifesting at all times. Everything that we do, every seed will come to fruition. So be intentional and be mindful about the seeds that you are sowing and the principles from which you are operating, or upon which you are operating. Okay? These all came out in the reverse. Don't dim to fit in. You're already doing it. Get grounded. So this is internal energy. This is coming in. And these are the revelations. Like, you're not going to be able to hide anymore. So stop trying. You're already doing it. Get grounded. Really stop operating from that idea that you should be hiding. But also don't blab your mouth about everything that you're doing just because you want attention. Like, operate from a mindset that you are that bee. You are powerful. You are unconditionally loved. Like, really embody who you want to be. And we spoke about the self-concept stuff. Embody that in everything that you do and everything that you say, because it's gonna pay off. Hard work pays off. Okay? You're already doing it. Stop overthinking. Keep facing your true north. Believe in yourself. This is about asking for the permission to believe. You don't need to ask for permission. Just do it. Oh, I can believe if so-and-so believes in me. No, you can just do it. And you know what? I have done things, even though I've been scared, even though I didn't believe it would work, I did it anyway, because a little part of me believed that maybe it would work. You know what I mean? I did it anyway, and it did end up paying off. And I want to say that, we start this tropically. We have Mercury, which is about the mind, in the sign of Virgo, in the 12th house tropically. And it's involved in a grand trine with Pluto retrograde at 27 degrees of Capricorn and Uranus retrograde and that Capricorn's in the 4th house, and Uranus retrograde in the 8th house in Taurus. And Jupiter's here too. This has to do with expansion. It's not about the grand gestures. It's about the everyday things that support you accessing this reality. It's not about magical thinking, oh, if I believe hard enough, it's going to happen. No, you need to make it happen. Decide who you are and become that person. If you believe that you're powerful, if you had your power taken away from you as a child by someone or something, it's yours again. It's coming back to you. This Pluto retrograde is about you taking your power back. A lot of it has to do with the mother wound healing. A lot of it has to do with our home life. A lot of it has to do with our upbringing. Matrilineal line. We have Fortuna here in the 4th, and we also have the moon here in the 4th where it's at home. So this is really powerfully charged up. Especially because Capricorn is the moon, I think it's in fall. It's either in fall or in detriment in Capricorn. But it means that it's not working to its full capacity. So we might feel challenged in our intuition. We might feel challenged in our intuition. We don't need to consistently keep going back and like go down nostalgia road, go down memory lane. We don't need to watch a bunch of tarot videos or astrology videos online to know the answer. You need to know yourself, and that is to know your integrity, to know your principles, to know your values, and you need to adhere to them and you need to stick to them. Because that is where you're going to win. That's how you're going to win. That's where it's going to pay off. The devil is in the details, so get very clear on where you have self-sabotaging behaviors in your day-to-day routine. And that requires you to know yourself on a deep and intimate level, which you may have been hiding from because of fear of self, because of childhood trauma. And that's something that we talked about in the spirit and consciousness reading. Okay, get grounded. Empaths, highly sensitives, connect with nature. Don't allow, if you are an outlier, don't allow the fact that you're different to continue making you settle for less than what you deserve. Don't allow those old narratives to perpetuate. So, these are the challenges. That's what it's being revealed. That's what's being revealed of the mind. These are the challenges: 8 of Wands, Queen of Cups, Ace of Cups in reverse. As I said, there are going to be a lot of opportunities for you to step deeper into your intuition, is what wants to come out, but into your principles, into your values. That means a lot of challenging experiences where you're going to be challenged to step up to the plate and be of integrity. Trust your intuition with the Queen of Cups. It's the 8 of Wands, Queen of Cups, the Ace of Cups. Trust your intuition with the Queen of Cups. Just because it didn't happen in the past doesn't mean that it's not going to happen now. Are you ready to receive this energy? This is going to be the last slew of check-ins to make sure that you're actually ready to receive what you've been waiting for. This is going to be that. So you can expect that this is going to challenge you. Like, you might not even think that it would challenge you in this way, because you might actually start getting what you want, a taste of what you want. And how you show up for that is going to determine whether or not you're actually ready to receive it for life, whether or not you're actually ready to receive greater power to sustain it. You get put in an opportunity with people who can better you in your career, but you're afraid of being seen. So you start reverting to maladapted behaviors, coping mechanisms, and characteristics that self-sabotage and end up making you look like a fool. And then, no, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get that promotion. You're not going to get that gig. You're not going to get that contract. You have to be, it's mind over matter, and self-mastery, that's what that is. Okay? As I said before, just because something feels right or something feels wrong in our physical body doesn't necessarily mean that that's the case. Because feelings aren't fact, and it's really important to discern when we are acting from trauma versus when we are actually acting from and maladapted instinct versus when we're actually acting from intuition and a more refined consciousness around how we move through life. And that's why we've been going through the things that we've been going through, in order to refine that consciousness and change how we show up for things that inspire fear in us. Okay, so just prepare yourself for that. Mind over matter, as I said. Like, you know, you can set intentions for how you're going to show up to life every day and every morning. Okay, I'm going to show up in this way today. Today, when I go to this situation, I'm going to show up in this way. Make a character and show up like that person. Life is but performance art. All the world's a stage. All the men and women are merely players. They have their entrances and their exits. Okay? All the world's a stage. Play your role. You get to decide what role you're going to play. Are you going to play the fool and play yourself like a fool? Even though you know better, you've already been through the entire major arcana journey to get to this place. And what are you going to do? You're going to put yourself back in the fool's position because you're scared or intimidated by shining your light because somebody stole it from you before? No. You make a decision and you stick to it and you do things differently. Because that's what you want. And the benefits that you're going to get, Four of Cups. You're going to get what you want. You're going to get what you want. What I'm really hearing is that you're going to get proven wrong because evidently, I guess, some of the collective watching this, whenever you're watching this, you might be in a really nihilistic place. Talked about that in the spirit and consciousness part of the reading. You might be in a really nihilistic place where you believe that nothing good can happen to you, that the world is just intrinsically bad, everything's bad, blah, blah, blah. And you're going to be proven wrong. Because you did things differently. Because you did things differently. Oh, that was the mastery. Excuse me. Well, I'll say this much with that as mastery. You know, inner child work, I know a lot of the time I'm just like, don't play yourself. Don't play yourself. But that doesn't really speak to what's going on inside of you when you're in those situations and you're actually scared. And this is why I say I'm not a therapist. And I'm also not, like, this is a spiritual page. This is an oracle page. This is the Aetherium. And sometimes I do share tools that are helpful for people who are in recovery from mental illness of various different sorts. But if you want to do the inner child healing work, I would recommend go to ACA, Adult Children of Alcoholics and Alcoholic and Dysfunctional Families. Go work with a therapist who can help you do the inner child healing work. Research that on your own. Because I'm going to put it to you this way. Yes, I have to hype myself up to do things. And I have to go against the fears that have been ingrained in me from a young age. With the Four of Cups, it's saying to have compassion for yourself. The way that you think that way for a reason. And that's okay. But it's not an excuse to continue sabotaging your life. Because you deserve better than that. And that's the maladapted mother archetype is, oh, okay, no, I see that was really bad for you, so you can continue to be a complete failure. Even though I know it makes you really unhappy. I know that you hate yourself and you hate life and you hate everyone. And it's because, like, your life sucks. I know that. And you had a really hard time, so yeah, no, I get it. No, that's not going to help you or heal you. The transcendent, integrated mother archetype is like, yes, and yes, I know that hurt. And you've still got to do this because this is the medicine. It's a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. Okay, I know it sucks. I know it's scary, but you can see little like rewards for yourself along the way. And besides that, it's like, okay, so I have to have this hard conversation with somebody and tell them that I can't be in a relationship with them anymore. But my inner child is so scared because previously, like, people would go nuts on me when I would tell them something that would disappoint them. And so I'm so scared right now. Beyond having the treat on the other side of doing it, checking in with yourself, like, hey, what are you feeling right now? I feel really scared. Why is that? Because I'm afraid that this person's going to go off on me and it's going to feel scary and uncomfortable, and I'm going to have to deal with this, that, and the third that I dealt with in the past. Okay, and let me tell you something. I learned all of this from Patrick T. Hahn, who's a licensed medical social worker who makes content on YouTube. And it works. I learned all of this from working with my therapist. I learned all of this from pursuing recovery from the dysfunctional family that I grew up in. Not everybody, like, the time for having things handed to you is over. Take accountability for your life. Take responsibility for your life. To whatever extent you can. If you're an adult, that's it. You need to take responsibility for your life and stop blaming everything from the past as to why you can't do better in the here and now. I'm not going to tell you all the tools. I already told you the tool. Look it up. I already gave you a resource. Now it's time for you to do some work for yourself. That's the entitlement that I was talking about. Keep sitting there and being entitled and expecting everything is going to come to you without you doing any of the work. And you're going to see just how life is going to play out for you. But now I've got to take time in this video where I could continue doing the reading, but I got to take time now to finish explaining this tactic, this technique, because, because people can't find context from licensed professionals. I am a professional oracle. I have studied spirituality, esoterics, and the occult since I was a child. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a trained professional when it comes to therapizing and pathologizing. So you need to go talk to someone who is. And that's self-care. Self-care's gonna be what helps you to master these challenges, taking care of yourself. And that doesn't mean face masks only. It also means not putting yourself into dangerous situations. It also means getting help so that you can overcome your impediments. Oh, I'm scared. You know what? I understand that. I totally understand why you would be scared. It's scary to do new things. You don't know what's going to happen on the other side. And you've experienced a lot of bad things. So it makes sense that you would think that a new thing is going to beget a bad thing. But we're adults now, 333 on the clock. We're adults now. I'm an adult now. And I've got us. And I'm going to be in our integrity. And if this person decides to go off on us, that's their business. But we're not going to engage with them anymore. We can make a plan for what we're going to do dependent on how that person responds. And also, you know what? That person may respond very, very differently from how the people used to respond. Okay, so here's a plan for if they respond this way. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to say. This is how we're going to get out of that situation. Here's a plan for how if they respond this way. Here's a plan for if they respond that way. We've covered every possible direction that this can go in. We know what we're going to do. We're going to say a little prayer. We're going to call a friend, a safe friend before, and we're going to call that same safe friend after. We have a plan for what we're going to do after we do this breakup, this end of this relationship. We're going to go to our best friend's house and we're going to eat ice cream. And today we're going to allow ourselves to eat as much ice cream as we want, but we're not going to binge eat after this. And we're going to watch our favorite movies, no matter what happens. That's what our plan is. Because you're about to do something really big. And I want you to know I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for even considering it. Before you even go into this situation, I'm proud of you. This is a really big deal. And then you show up and you do that. It's not enough to just say, don't dim to fit in. We have to understand why we do those things, and we have to address those causes and conditions. Step by step, little baby steps are going to get us there. Have compassion for yourself. Treat yourself like the inner loving parent. If you don't know what that means, look it up. And so you do it. You get into that situation. Whatever happens, happens. You get to the other side and you congratulate yourself. I'm so proud of you. That may not have even gone the exact way that we wanted it to. Things really went haywire, but we stuck to our integrity. They told us that if we broke up with them, that they were going to do this or they were going to do that, but we stuck to our integrity. They yelled at us, they called us mean names, but I protected you, little version of me, because I know that you don't want that, and you don't want them. I'll show you what, next steps. Doesn't this look like a scared little kid? You don't want that, and I don't want that for you. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to jump on out of this pool, this pond, and go on to another one. No matter what. We're going to do whatever it takes to get to that promised land, to get to Providence. No matter what, even if we have to course correct. And guess what? You faltered, you apologized a bunch of times, even though we said we weren't going to apologize a bunch of times. And guess what? I'm still proud of you. Because you did it. You did it. And just a year ago, you wouldn't have been able to even consider doing it. I'm so proud of you. Say that to yourself. Talk to yourself that way. And that's what's going to help you to master this aspect of this time that we're coming into. You need the stern disciplinarian. I'm stern. I am stern. Everybody knows that about me. I don't play. I do not play. But everyone also knows that I am deeply compassionate, kind, understanding, and loving. And I am a fierce supporter of the people that I love. And that's why I stand for discipline. That's why I'm stern. That is why we are chastised. We chastise the ones that we love because we want them to be well. They say spare the rod, spoil the child. I'm not advocating for physical abuse, but I am advocating for discipline and structure. You operate from a fear mindset, you're going to find more reasons to be afraid, for more situations to be afraid in. But if you operate from a mindset of what the future can hold for you, if you change your behaviors, hey, guess what? You might end up in a whole new world. A fantasy world that you could never, ever have expected. Okay? And we're healing ourselves around that. So the benefits of this, we have temperance, we have the magician, we have in reverse, we have the 5 of Pentacles, we have the 5 of Cups in reverse, and the 5 of Wands. I'm seeing this as like that old stuff is not going to have the same power over you that it once did. You're not going to be like, it's mind control, understand? So like, it's not going to have that same power that it once did. You're going to be able to develop more of an ability to feel like you're walking on solid ground. Feel like the ground beneath you is stable, because it is. Okay? You're not going to feel like you have to do as much or make things happen as much, or always be in control, like always be trying to make something happen. You're going to be able to rest. There's going to be a great release of all of these unhappy experiences and ways of being. You're not going to have to experience that nearly as often as you used to. Those timelines are going to change because you changed them. You're going to have, and it's going to bring a lot of change into your material life, which can be challenging, but it ends up being really good. Okay, so people know that, you know, I've had a lot of narcissistic relationships or toxic dynamics where there was the pattern of narcissistic abuse. Whether or not they were narcissists varies, but they were all toxic and codependent, and I'm in recovery from that, and I'm no contact with those people, and it is challenging, it is hard, but ultimately it's better, and I can grieve and mourn those losses because they were of value to me. But I can grieve and mourn those losses knowing that my life is better, my life is more peaceful. I'm no longer embattled within myself. I've integrated myself. I love myself. I'm able to show up fully as myself because I've developed and cultivated a practice of doing so. We have 555 here because we have 5 of Pentacles, 5 of Cups, and 5 of Wands here. So 555 might play a big role. We're talking about change. We're talking about transformation on a big level. So this is a really big deal shift in your mental perception. And we get the 5 of Wands in the reverse position. Like I said, on Christ the solid rock I stand, all other ground is sinking sand. You now are standing in your conviction, and not, like, whatever comes against you, it cannot shake you, it cannot rock you. So it's completely worth your while and worth your time to invest in making this a reality for you. So we have 7 of Swords. I don't remember what this card is. Every time I don't use this deck for a while, I forget what the major arcana is because it doesn't have the names of them on there. This is the Hermit. I guess she's a hermit crab. But you do see that she's she's following herself. She's following herself. I would even say kind of chasing herself. So this is about self-reflection, self-awareness. And this is the 8 of Swords by herself, protecting her little bunny, and she's a bunny. Yes, this is about protecting your inner child, taking care of your inner child. And taking care of your inner child also means, okay, I want to eat cookies all the time because I feel triggered. We got to find something else that's going to work to sate that feeling, because if we eat cookies all the time, we're going to get cavities. We're going to have to go get those cavities filled. That's not a good game plan, baby. So let's develop the tools and tactics that we can use to actually solve the issue of you feeling unsafe. Let's actually shift environments. If this is a dead end, let's shift environments so that we can get into spaces where we feel safe. Think critically. Think critically about every relationship that you're in right now. Really, really do the self-examining and see, does it actually add real value on a spiritual level? Are you building towards a solid future with this person? Place, concept, thing, what have you? Or maybe it's time to let it go. Institution. For some of you, it could be leaving the church. or like your religion, or switching religions, or whatever. Switching your coven. For some of you, it could be just ending fucking toxic relationships. You know what I mean? And then for others of you, it could be getting into moving out of a house, moving out of your family's house. All of your siblings still live there and y'all are all living there together, and you're just like, no, I got to get out of here. This is stunting my growth. Even though they believe that that's what we're supposed to do, I know that I don't believe that that's what we're supposed to do, because I know that I could be so much better and so much different. I don't want to be in this pattern. I don't want to be stuck in this. I got to get out of here. I got to get new, fresh air into my mental space, into my relationships, and I gotta move out. Like, it could be that. But these are all challenges that you're gonna have to face and you're gonna have to show up for. And like, you know, as you're going through these big changes, you're gonna want to show up with compassion and care for yourself. We're moving on to the space of emotions. We have, for themes, black tourmaline, protect your light. Some people are going to try to get you off of your game by triggering you, because that's their MO, and they're probably emotional vampires. Their modus operandi is to trigger people, and that causes an emotional bond with that person. Because it causes like this really intense influx of chemicals in the body that is associated with that person, and then we feel like we feel strongly about them, we feel passionately about them, and you know, this must be a relationship that we're supposed to be in. Actually, it's more likely that it's not a relationship that you're supposed to be in. And let me tell you something, not every, like, oh, I had a past life with this person. That sounds like a karmic relationship more than anything else. I just felt such a strong connection to them. Okay. Well, especially if you are neurodivergent, you feel strongly about most things. Right? So think it through. Protect your light, because I can tell you that there are people now who are activated to drain you of your light, to drain you of your energy. That's why I said that it was interesting to me that supply, that's what it is. Narcissistic supply. Narcissists lose their prey, their victim, and they go and they start finding somebody else to be new supply for them before they've even ended the relationship with the first person. But what I said when I was looking for that word is source. They don't have a connection to God. Codependent people don't have a relationship to God. They feel like they need to get it. They need to get their fulfillment from things in the world outside of them. And that's just not going to work. And that's why, like, a lot of people are experiencing depression. Especially if you're neurodivergent, then you might, if you have ADHD, your body doesn't produce enough dopamine on its own, which causes depression and leads to, a lot of the time, drug and alcohol abuse. You might also have CPTSD and your neurological wiring's messed up. Whatever it is, we're being called to stop looking for the answer outside of us and start looking for it within. Really develop your relationship to your higher power in this time, and understanding that your higher power is connected to you. You are part of them. Understand that, because there's going to be a lot of stuff. There's a lot of temptation trying to get you caught up so that you can give away your power, so you can squander your power. And you're being asked to just be very conscientious and cognizant, and don't give in to that. Okay? Don't give in to the entities that are trying to make you feel like they have ownership over you, because that's just not true. And it doesn't matter what they do or what they say. It's just not true. Stay 10 toes down. Don't allow your feelings to control you and make you act a certain type of way. If somebody's making you feel bad, this isn't, oh, like, I got some constructive criticism and now I feel uncomfortable. Or someone set a boundary with me and now I feel embarrassed and that means they're a bad person. No, if somebody is causing you harm, you need to get away from them. It's going to become really clear who is and who isn't for us in this time. Revelations, we get answer the call. What is your soul calling you to do? Where are we being called to journey to? That's the 𝗪𝗲 card from this deck. Challenges, we have the 6 of Wands. Okay. The Tower, 7 of Cups, and 4 of Pentacles. No, sorry. 6 of Wands, the Tower, and 7 of Cups. The Tower and 7 of Cups are in the indirect position. So what's being revealed is your calling, what you're meant to do. If you've been confused, it's getting revealed. If you've had a niggling feeling, if you know where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to do for you to be in alignment, for you to be in joy, and that is becoming more clear. You've been being called out of the darkness, out of the wilderness, and being asked to honor your feelings in whatever way is most healthy and generative. And it's becoming clear what is about to happen. What is about to happen? It's becoming clear what the answer is to the question. You've had a question and they've just been telling you, don't worry about it, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. Now you're about to find out what it is that you were meant to not be worrying about. So, challenges, 6 of Wands in the reverse. I think it really is the Tower in reverse, 7 of Cups. I do feel in reverse. I feel like it's really accepting that everything is okay and that at this point in time, you're really just supposed to be building towards a better life for yourself. And we get the Tower in the direct position from the clarifiers. Yeah, you really just want to do your best to believe that. Like I said, it's like you've been called to let things go, to stop seeking revenge, and stop trying to make sure that people are getting their just desserts because you're hurt. So you're really going to be tasked with that, letting go of those old narratives so that you can receive. That's really still what it comes down to. 10 of Swords, because there has been betrayal. And the 10 of Pentacles in reverse, there has been betrayal. But are you going to let that rule your life? Because then that's the control. You are being controlled. You are not self-possessed. You are being controlled by someone outside of you. We don't want that. And that's disempowering, 10 of Pentacles. That's going to keep you stuck in a cycle, King of Wands. That is not good for you. 8 of Swords, the Hermit in reverse, the Devil. Yeah. 2 of Cups. When you reclaim your sovereignty, like even if you're feeling down, it's like I said, stay 10 toes down, stay in your integrity. Even when it's difficult, because it's really going to pay off in the end. Do understand that you are co-creating your life. The choices that you make. So the universe doesn't care if, I was sad, so that's why I made that decision. So that means that, I don't have to reap the benefits of that decision because I was sad when I made that decision and now I feel better, and so that doesn't count anymore. That's not how it works. So things like hooking up with somebody because you feel lonely. Don't do that. Going back to hanging out with toxic friend groups because you feel lonely. Don't do that. Or you're going to have to reap the benefits of those seeds that you sowed. Trust and believe. You need to really listen to your intuition because all of the signs are there. You know, if it's a fear of like letting life pass you by, you need to just trust that things are not going to pass you by. Exactly what is for you is going to find you. Exactly what is for you. It's not going to miss you. If you are in right alignment, it is not going to miss you. But doing something out of obligation because you feel like you need to, because of some sort of sick, twisted mindset that you have about yourself, that puts you into an imbalance. It puts you into an unbalanced relationship where you're giving more than you're receiving, or you're being harmed. You really need to trust your intuition. It's going to break you free of these cycles. You don't need to continue going through this. And bring you into right union with the life that you're supposed to live. You've been doing this work, so you're going to experience it. But like I said, this is the time of these last tests. The Four of Cups in reverse, Ace of Cups in reverse, the World in the reverse. This is the time of these last tests. So walk in this knowledge. Do I need to learn this lesson again? No. I don't need to learn this lesson again. Sometimes when you ask the universe questions, it's like, you already know the answer, so I'm not going to tell you. And now you're acting like you don't know what to do. You know what to do. That's why you're asking, because you want to avoid doing what you got to do. Four of Pentacles for mastery. Love on yourself. Give yourself the care. Care enough about yourself to cultivate a space and a vibe and an experience that is safe and generative so that you can grow into the best version of yourself. Cultivate a space that can contain the blessings that you're asking for. Cultivate a sense of self that can maintain the blessings that you're asking for. Because if your life is not welcoming and is not a healthy habitat for it, it's not going to be able to come in. And that's not because it doesn't want to. It probably does want to. But it's because you're not prepared. You're not ready. Seven of Swords in the reverse and the Hanged Man for benefits. The benefits of getting through this particular experience in this particular season, emotionally grounded and, you know, choosing to be a mature adult in all that we do instead of being passive aggressive, etc., etc. Instead of being a people pleaser, instead of yielding to things and doing things that you don't want to do, that you don't feel are right or good, participating in things that are not aligned, is that you don't have these internal conflicts and these internal battles. And even if people try and come for you, it really just doesn't even matter. It just like rolls off your back. Like, because you stayed 10 toes, you're going to get that back. You're going to receive that back. Like, you're grounded, you're rooted. And like, when the wind blows, it's not going to knock you down. It might knock down other people. It's not going to knock you down, though. Oh, we have also the Seven of Cups in reverse and the Emperor in reverse. These are the benefits. Spiritual enlightenment, and I feel like understanding that being alone is not the same as being lonely, and you're going to be able to be on your own more because you're becoming more self-possessed. You're starting to really understand yourself and enjoy your own company. I feel like I need to talk about Aquarius. So sidereally, Saturn is in Aquarius, and It's in the 6th house. Like I said, you really have to start doing things differently in order to elevate and evolve your life forward. So think about, like, you know, is your diet supporting having a healthy emotional life? There is a diet, like, I spoke about this before, and I spoke about this in the Earth in Our Bodies reading from the beginning of the year. I've spoken about this in many, many lives on Instagram. And it's like, I have done research to find out, like, what kind of foods support people with ADHD, like, and who have dopamine deficiency. I've done research into, like, the best diet for people who have IBS, you know, and IBS is something that can happen to everyone, but it mainly happens to people who are stressed. And if you have chronic post-traumatic stress disorder or complex post-traumatic stress disorder that has largely gone untreated, that means that you have chronic IBS because you are chronically stressed out and anxious. You have to rewire your neurological system. But in the meantime, why don't you help yourself out by eating a low FODMAP diet? Do that research. See how long it's going to, like, see what you need to do that. Research recipes that are going to support you. If it's like, oh, like, you want to have shinier hair, these kinds of things, you need more protein in your diet, whatever it is, this is the time for you to be getting on that. How much is it going to cost? Okay, you don't like to cook really like that, like, can you get a meal service? That sort of thing. Like, how can you structure your budget? Because I do feel like Virgo also, I feel like, addresses budgeting. Like, you know, it used to be woman's work of the household to balance the household checkbook. And I feel like that is what you need to be doing for your household, for you and your household. And then she would, like, then the woman of the house, the lady of the house would, like, buy the groceries because they're going to be the ones doing the cooking and they know how much they need to spend on that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's what that used to be. And I think that that's really kind of what we're being called to do with the Virgo energy. Because we have Mercury at home in Virgo tropically. So this is a very analytical time when we are being hyper aware of what we're working with, period. Virgo. But sidereally, we have the sun in Virgo, we have Mars in Virgo, we have the ascendant at 21 degrees. It is the 1st house. So, like I said, you might be somebody who it's really hard to have a routine if you didn't have that growing up. If you never had discipline and structure growing up, it might be really hard for you to have that as an adult. It might be triggering. It can feel really disorienting. It can feel like it's impeding on your freedom. But what's being encouraged here is, like, you have to get your house in order so that you can actually live the life that your inner child wants to live. You can actually live your best life. You can live a life that exalts who you are. You can start showing up in a way that people can then trust you. Girl, do you see this? And then you're not going to have to manifest all the time because your life is just going to make sense more than ever. We have the 3 of Swords, the Devil, the Sun, King of Pentacles, and 2 of Pentacles. And this is about overcoming those traumas, overcoming those impediments. Like I said, like, whatever you do to satisfy the pain in a momentary pain, we're being called to transcend that and start really getting down to the deep, deep roots of things. Like, understand, that's what I'm saying. Like, oh, I can't wake up on time. Why? Instead of just sitting there asking why, like I said, it could be because you didn't have that as a child. And that's something that peak children need. That is a type of trauma in a way. And that needs to be addressed. So you can heal, which is Virgo, and you can heal and transcend that. And you can live a better life. What you do to experience momentary bliss, like overeating ice cream. Overeating anything, honestly, actually. You can eat too many carrots. You know? Binge eating. Participating in indiscriminate sexual relations. Abusing substances. Bullying people. Abusing people. Laying down and watching TV and doing nothing. Scrolling on Instagram. Whatever you're doing to get that dopamine hit, this is going to make it so that you don't have to do that anymore. A new energy is coming in that you never experienced before because you're addressing the kinds of problems that you had in your life. 3 of Wands in the reverse and Queen of Pentacles. So this means that you're getting rid of that old energy and you're inviting in new energy. And that is what we keep coming back to. So you can be sovereign in your material life. Okay, so next steps we have 4, the Emperor, 6 of Cups in reverse, Knight of Wands. Own your life, own your feelings, own your trauma, own yourself, own your power, own your agency, own it. Own your mistakes, own your past, own it. It's yours, but it doesn't have to rule you. Take accountability for your actions. Admit to yourself the deepest, darkest recesses of yourself that you don't want anyone to know about. Admit that self to yourself. It's who you are. It's what you are. And it's okay. Let yourself really, truly feel that it's okay. I'm a human being. It's complicated. It's messy. People don't understand the way the brain works. They don't understand consciousness. On a true and deep level, we don't understand the universe. Past a certain point, my quirks, my character flaws, my quirks, my mistakes, my missteps, my mishaps, that all makes me who I am. And I am the sum, my character is the sum of my actions. So I get to choose who I am, what I've done, what I'm going to be now. Because I can shift the perspective. Instead of feeling like I'm a victim, instead of feeling like I'm the worst piece of shit in the fucking world, you feel me? I get to choose the narrative that I operate from. When I stop, I'll bring it back to myself. I'm a fucking rock star. When I stopped drinking and doing drugs, I stopped doing a lot of the things that I was ashamed of. I am not ashamed of a lot of the things that I do. But I would do things that I was ashamed of when I was blackout drunk, or in order to get free drugs at the club. You know? A lot of that's just club kid life. And it's just normal, but it's not healthy. What's normal isn't necessarily what's healthy or sane or good. So I don't do any of those things anymore, and I don't have to be ashamed of myself because I don't do those things anymore. And also, I've done the work to develop a practice of compassion towards myself, in terms of who I was when I was doing that, because I have a disease. I have a disease. It's called alcoholism and addiction. It's actually called substance use disorder. And it is related to my CPTSD. And it is related to my ADHD, which is related to the CPTSD as well. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? We don't know. And we can never know. And that's okay. But I now today have a conscious understanding of why I felt I must do the things that I was doing, why I felt I must drink, why I felt I must do drugs, why I felt like I cannot stop, because if I stop, I'm going to have to unalive myself. Life is not bearable. So even though this makes me debase myself, even though this takes me into rooms and worlds that I have no business being in, and I don't even want to really be in, but this is where I'm willing to go to get what I need to keep me alive. Even though all of that may be true, I can't, because I actually do want to live. At some level, I do have a shred of belief that life is worth living and life can be good for me. But this is the only way that I know how to do it. Well, 111 on the clock. I don't believe that anymore because I've seen a different way. I opened myself up to receiving. I was willing to try a different way. And today I can walk into a room with grace and dignity, and if somebody's in there that doesn't fuck with me because of something that I did 10 years ago, if somebody is trying to bring me to task for something I did 10 years ago, or make me feel like a piece of shit because of something that I did 10 years ago, first of all, fuck you, you're not a very good person. And second of all, I'm not that person anymore. So I'm not going to be accountable to that anymore because I've done what I needed to do to atone for that. So this is what we're talking about. Atonement. Stop doing the thing that makes you not like yourself. Atone to yourself and to the other people that you hurt for that harm caused, and change your life from the bottom up and from the top to the bottom. Your whole entire philosophy needs to change. Your whole entire framework around what life is and how it's meant to be needs to change. And then how you feel about life is going to change. How you walk through life needs to change. What you feel is possible needs to change. And when you make those changes, life's going to get a little bit more bearable. But you have to make those changes. You have to change the way that you walk through the world. And that requires you changing how you see yourself and your self-concept. That's the most important thing that keeps coming up over and over, which makes sense because we have the sun and Mars in Virgo in the first house. Like I said, y'all, I'm good at what I do. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm good at what I do. And the sun is also making this grand trine to Pluto retrograde in the sign of Capricorn in the 5th house, as well as Uranus at 28 degrees of Aries in the 8th house. Okay? So we get Ace of Cups and we get King of Pentacles, because when you claim your sovereignty back, new energy is able to come in, but until you're ready to let go of the past, it's not able to come in. Period. I'm going to pause and use the restroom, and I'll be RB. causal pile. Oh, okay, well. So for the causal energetic pile, that means like what we put out and what we get back, which is going to be the physical realm. What we put out, what kind of energy we put out, what we do with our energy, physical energy, thought energy, all of that good stuff. We get lepidolite, enter your chill zone for the themes. So this is really about not getting worked up over every little thing that comes your way. Any like external stimuli that comes your way, you don't need to give it all of your attention. You don't need to interact with it. You don't need to energetically align with everything that comes your way. You can let some things pass you by, and the more you're in your integrity, the more you just allow things that don't feel aligned to not pull you into their orbit. Does the sun get pulled into the orbit of the moon or Jupiter or any of that? No, it doesn't. So we need to be the sun, the center of our solar system, the center of our world, the center of our life, our universe. We need to be that great central sun to ourselves and forget about all of the other stuff, because it's a lot of distractions. It's a lot of distractions coming out in the world these days. And the thing about it is, a lot of these distractions, they're real things that they're cooking up, and they're bad and they're evil and they're horrible. They're real. But it's meant to throw you off your game. It's meant to get you caught up. You know what I mean? I'm seeing this as a lot of like celebrity drama. And it might even just be drama in your own actual everyday life. People trying to start drama with you, people trying to have beef with you, people who are mad at you because you don't fuck with them anymore, even though they know that they were really the one who didn't fuck with you. So I'm sensing a lot of interpersonal drama coming up, and that's something that we need to be conscious of and cognizant of. I'm turning that off because, or closing that because it's distracting me. Where to put it in a bubble bath, on the meditation cushion, in the fetal position when the pressure to be successful, fit, and fabulous 24/7, 365 is too much. Exactly. You need to chill out. Take a chill pill. Like, take it easy. Rome wasn't built in a day, and not everything requires all of your attention. Okay? You really need to understand to conserve your energy until it's time to use it. Only direct your energy at the things that are worth it. Your energy is precious. It's time to really start embodying that and understanding that and believing that, because I know that a lot of people struggle with that. A lot of people struggle with that. A lot of people struggle to understand that. And that's something that, like, you're going to really benefit from understanding in this time to come. Just let things slide right off you. Like water off a duck's back. I need to really hot. Okay. I needed to drink some hot water because I was getting a lot of phlegm. My throat was getting really dry and mucusy. I'm also going to have a pectin lozenge. So excuse me while I have this in my mouth. Revelations protection in reverse, call back your power, cut the cord, soul retrieval. The age of light, you've been training for this for lifetimes. the Fool in reverse. You've actually already been preparing for this. You've been cutting out a lot of the distractions from your life. You've been cutting out a lot of the low vibrational relationships from your life. And the opportunity is arising for you to re-engage with them for whatever reason. It could be because you're a people pleaser. It could be because you're afraid of conflict. It could be because you feel like you're codependent and you feel like you can't survive without other people giving you attention and energy. You know what I mean? But this is an opportunity to prove that you know that that's not true. This is an opportunity for you to prove that, like, you used to be a certain type of way because you didn't know any better and you were unhealthy, and that was the only way that you knew how to be, but you learned a different way to be. And you took all those lessons and you ate those lessons and you came out on the other side of beast. That's what they're trying to tell you. Oh my God. Yeah. You came out on the other side unshakable. Like I said, 10 toes down. Your roots go really deep now. And when the wolf comes to huff and puff and blow down your house, it's not going to be able to, because your sense of self, your identity is no longer built on hay, which is a stupid thing to build your house from. It's no longer going to huff and puff and be blown away because you didn't build it from sticks. You built it from bricks. And before I get any further, I am going to say a lot of indigenous homes are built using things like hay and sticks, but they make them into a brick-like substance because bricks are made of like different ingredients, but mainly stone that's like crushed up, like, you know, it could be cinder blocks and cement blocks, whatever. That's just like cement put into a paste, put into a mold, and turned into a brick to lay. So I'm not saying that this is just the analogy of like hay and the Three Little Pigs. That's all that is. But I think that that's actually a really great analogy because that's transmutation right there. Can you take, if you've been given so little, can you take hay and sticks and turn them into something that is the equivalent of bricks? Transmutation. Because what if the first two pigs were only given those things? That's not actually what we're talking about here. Let's put it this way, actually. They were all given those things, and the third pig decided to make bricks out of them. And they were like, you're so stupid. Why would you do that? Like, that's so lame. That's never going to work. Why are you trying to do things different? Just do things the way that things have always been done. Da 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 da. But that pig decides, I don't care what you have to say. I'm not listening to you. I'm going to do what I want to do. And that pig ends up reject modernity, embrace tradition. That's what we get with for Four of Pentacles. That's what I get. And it's like, no, like modernity here is like leveling up into a place and like, look at this. It's about leveling up into self-love. You don't need to protect yourself so much when you're not even around things, people, places, things that you need to protect yourself. You know what I mean? Like when you vastly reduce the risk of danger in your life, revelations. When you vastly reduce the amount of danger, the chance of danger in your life, you vastly reduce how much you need to protect yourself. When you stop being friends with people who are toxic and unhealthy and emotionally immature, you will find that you don't have to have your guard up all the time. You will find that you're able to relax a little bit more, that your shoulders can drop away from your ears a little bit more. Just like what I said, when you stop doing things that make you feel ashamed, you'll be able to sit up a little bit straighter. Day by day, month by month, you're going to start sitting up a little bit straighter because you stopped self-betraying. And 7 of Cups. It might be really challenging, like I said, to do things differently and to trust your intuition when nobody else believes in what you see and what you feel is going on. If you want to talk about something, talk about the Book of Enoch. Or no, the Book of the Giants, actually, which I think is part of the Nag Hammadi library. Yo. Throat chakra. Things. They don't want me to speak on it. This water's so hot. Well, what I can do is I have 2 waters. I don't even know if blowing on things works, but makes my mind think that it does. 2 things coming together to make something that is actually useful. It's a lot of throat chakra clearing. Yeah, they didn't believe Noah when he was building his ark. But then the flood came, and guess what? They all were dead. So there you go. There you have it. It's going to be revealed why it's a good idea to trust your intuition and to do the healthy thing instead of the normal thing. To evolve higher, to ascend to higher heights. Because guess what? When you're on the tip of the mountain, the flood's not going to get you. Let's move on to challenges. 4 of Pentacles, 4 of Swords, and the Star in reverse. 4 of Pentacles, 4 of Swords. I think it's really just about, like, we might really want to go back into those familiar places and spaces, whether that be in the material or in the mental. We want to do the things that feel comfortable to us. We want to do the things that ultimately, with the Star in reverse, disempower us. We want to do that because it's normal to us, and it's harder to break out of our habits because we are creatures of habit. We're going to want to do that. But it's really about, do I really need to learn this lesson over again? Do I really did I really come all this way just to be put back into the area of, just to be put back into the position of the Fool? I got all the way down here. Okay, I got all the way to the Judgment card, where now I have to, show that I learned what I learned through this journey. Am I really gonna set myself back to the Fool? Or am I gonna step forward into the world and be freed, be relieved, experience moksha? I sound incredulous because I am. It's like, bro. But we've all been there, and we're all going to be there. We're all going to be there together. That's the thing about it. All this does is give us a little edge that we know that this is what it is, and hopefully that will help us to make better decisions. But guess what? We do have the Fool in reverse and 6 of Pentacles for mastery. How to master this challenge this theme, this realm of our lives during this season. And that's it. Take all of that knowledge that you learned, trust and believe that you know you don't need a reminder. And direct your energy as you are, as you know that you ought to be. Because what is going to happen is you put yourself in energetic alignment with the good, the love. And you call in more love. And you refuse to engage with the low vibrational entities. What can they do? They can always keep on the cacophony. They can keep that shit up. They can keep calling out to you. With the distractions, like I said, the distractions, that's going to keep you from really doing the best at the leveling up that you can. So you can keep that shit up. But it doesn't have to mean anything. It doesn't have to have any impact on you. It doesn't have to change anything for you. Just keep on ignoring it. The Knight of Wands. Move forward with that energy that you know that you're meant to move forward with. You know, decisive, incisive. Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. There you go, 3 degrees. You don't need to know. You don't need to know what the outcome's going to be. You already know if you move from integrity, you're building a more solid foundation. And you're coming more into alignment with what it is you're trying to manifest, attract, become one with, really is a better way to put it. This is about healing your material life and your material world. So cutting out the fat. And it's not about getting into conflict with them. I don't think that this is what that's about at all. And I do feel like they're saying it's not about conflict. It's just about priorities. I don't have time to invest in this. Because this is a waste of my time. I know. Like, if you know that somebody's toxic, and before you would have been like, oh, but they need me and I can help them to change and to be better. No, you cannot. They have to want that. They have to choose that. And you've been through enough experiences where you know that that's not how it goes down. They can learn from example, but more than likely they're going to end up causing you tremendous harm and bringing you down to their level before you ever bring them up to yours. Because they are still committed to sickness. Period. Okay, so for benefits, we have 5 of Swords. Everybody's talking all those things about me. Why can't they just let me live? Tell me why. Made my own decisions. That's my prerogative. That's my prerogative. That's what I get for that card. I think that you're going to find that's the benefits. 3 of Cups in reverse. Queen of Swords, Knight of Swords. You're going to find that all that fear that you may have been harboring, all that love lost that you're afraid of, all the love that you're afraid of losing, all that fear that you've been harboring, when you try it this way, when you do it this way, you're going to find that this was the way to do it. High Priestess in reverse. 8 of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, the Moon in reverse. Yeah, so there's secrets. There's secrets, there's hidden information. Things that you've been blocked from receiving, you're gonna be like... People were hiding things from you. You maybe thought that your intuition was broken, but in reality, it wasn't. So things that you've been waiting for, that you had to get into energetic alignment for, more of that will be coming your way. however that looks. Don't place the emphasis on how it looks. Place the emphasis on how it feels. The energy of it. Not the emotional feeling of it, but the actual, like, energy of it. Energy never lies. People do. And it's going to be very much like a lot of revelations coming in. When you start switching up like this, you're going to see people's truth for sure. And it's going to be very, very helpful, because you might even be shocked. You might even be shocked to see, like, how some people that you thought were riding for you are not riding for you. They're not your homies. They do not support you. They do not love and care about you. You know what I mean? As much as you would have liked to think that they did, and you're gonna be able to build a better world for yourself with the people that you're actually meant to be with, and the relationships that you're actually meant to be with, and go down a path and a journey that you're actually supposed to be on, by letting go of all of this trash, essentially, is what they're saying. And so letting go is a very, very big aspect here. Keep dying to the past. That's what David G always says. Keep on dying to the past. And that's what I want you all to do. Get the Temperance card. And I do want to say, you know, we're not going to feel that need to rush, to always be doing something, to like, oh, we're missing out. Like, we're not going to feel all of that stuff anymore, because we're going to be solid within ourselves. And we're not going to be nearly as chaotic as we used to be. And we're not going to find ourselves in chaotic relationships just to pass the time, you know, because we're bored, or it needs to look a certain type of way, or you see things on social media about, like, people doing things and going places and this, that, and the third, all of these pseudo events. You're going to see that shit, and it's not even going to matter to you, because you know who you are, and you know what's real, and you know what's right for you. Okay, so what are the next steps? We have the Knight of Swords in the reverse. And you have Temperance again. Be patient. Avoid conflict. Not avoid it, but disengage. Disengage. These people, it's just a distraction, you know what I mean? Like, don't give them what they're looking for. That's that low vibrational shit. Like, don't engage, don't waste your energy, don't waste your time with that. I'm just looking at myself. Knight of Swords. Right? No, Temperance, exactly. Be patient. Take calculated steps forward. Strategic warfare is the name of the game, okay? That is the name of the game. Don't just do things for the sake of doing them. Do it because it's going to benefit you. It's of value to you. It's adding value to your life. You know what I mean? And I really want to encourage you to not operate from this, like, egoic, like, disempowered framework, this victim narrative and mindset, because that's what encourages us and inspires us to take revenge. And really, we're just hurting ourselves, wasting our own time and energy. I'm hearing scoundrel. I'm hearing pearls before swine. So, you know, if you're hurting yourself to get back at somebody else, I'll tell you this much. When I ended the relationship I had, whatever nebulous relationship it was, when I ended the relationship that I had with this one person, I wanted to immediately get back at them by getting with someone hotter, more successful, more ethnic. And yeah, I really rushed into something before I was even ready, and I started to see how crazy, like how unwell and unstable my ideals around relationships and interpersonal connection and romance really was. And You know, I could have, Knight of Pentacles, I could have really caused myself a lot of harm. Hanged Man in reverse, Ten of Pentacles in reverse, Ten of Swords in reverse, and Page of Swords. The High Priestess in the direct position. I could have really caused myself harm. I think in a way I did, but it ended before it could really become anything too serious anyway. But both of us were very sick people, and I think that if things had continued, it would have just been the same old BS of an unfulfilling relationship with an emotionally unavailable person who's just relying on me codependently for love, care, compassion, comfort, and to be a mother figure to them whilst also like having sex with them. And that's not what I was interested in. Instead, I decided to take some time off from dating, take some time off from even fucking having crushes, to be honest, and just pay attention to myself and take care of myself. And in the end, you know, it's been a long time since I've been in a relationship with anyone or been physically intimate with anyone. And I can honestly say I've had like a handful of crushes, but you know, before where I would have like jumped into it, I don't do that anymore because I don't need to. Like, I am much more intentional about how I expend my energy. I'm less willing to like settle for things that I don't actually want. And I feel like, get the World in the reverse, I feel like the Queen of Swords, yeah, exactly. So, if you've been stuck in some way, it's because you've been being brought to your knees. You've been being asked to surrender to the truth of who you are, the reality of who and what you are, the reality of the world around you, the reality, the context, contextualizing yourself within the greater reality. That's what it's about. You know what I mean? Ace of Cups, Hierophant. Claiming that sovereignty. You don't have to do things just because something happened and now you gotta do this or you gotta do that. Like, you know, okay, now I'm gonna go hook up with this person because I want to get back at this person, and she wouldn't have even known. She would not have even known that I was getting with this other person. All it would do is make me feel better and make me feel momentarily like I have value. Meanwhile, I'm devaluing myself by getting back into another relationship with somebody who is incapable of fulfilling my emotional needs, wants, and desires. So it's just a perpetuation of that cycle, and that's what we're being asked to discontinue now. Okay? Be patient. If it's not right there ready for you, it might not be for you right now. Wait until the next step is completely clear. Alright? I wasn't going to finish this tonight because my throat chakra was getting all fucked up, but I was like, nah, they're trying to stop me. I'm not going to let them stop me. So for what's going on in the physical realm, we have chrysoprase, grow from your heart out. And I just want to and we have Lemurian quartz, escape your mind. I just want to point something out about all of the themes that came before the material realm. And do note that the material realm is green. So it's very lush, it's very abundant. Look at these colors. Look at those colors, very earth toned, very much having to do with the root, very much having to do with the ground, like neutrals. We have like tan, we have orange, we have black, we have another version of like an orange color. And then we have, yes, we do have that, but we have green. For the first time, we see some lushness, we see some verdant colors, and this is because this all had to do with our foundation. This all had to do with our integral structure. And now we get to reap the benefits of the work that we've done because we're actually showing up for it. Right? So with grow from your heart out, exactly what did I say? Top to bottom manifestation. And if you turn the pyramid on its side, you'll see it's going outward, right? Let's imagine it's a cone, actually. So you turn the cone and it's a circle, and the tip of the pyramid is the center of the circle, and it grows outward. So that's where the root is. That's what we're healing. Escape your mind. Exactly. Mind over matter. You don't have to, oh, that's in reverse. I would say don't believe that your physical reality is the only reality that's possible. Yes, it is the reality that you are experiencing right now, and that is not something that I'm contesting, but it doesn't have to remain as such always. And this doesn't even mean that you have to change physical locations. It can also mean that the vibe changes, the energy changes, the electric charge changes. Okay, the people, places, and things in that environment change. Ultimately, what happens is you change and everything changes according to the fact that you changed. Okay, I did this backwards. And this comes back to what I was saying about believing. Believe that you can have more. Believe that you can do better. Because when you believe in that, it's possible. But if you don't believe, it's still possible, but you're going to be fighting it with everything in you. What a waste of time and energy. You're going to be, oh my God, I'm so exhausted. I'm tired all the time. Well, you've been misappropriating and misdirecting your energy. So what do you expect? You know? And this is why we have to do the healing, because when you live in a state of hypervigilance, you are always, I found the card. If I am in somebody else's head, I'm out of my mind. You are always caught up. What was I saying? Oh, you're always caught up in like stress, and your body is always experiencing high stress, so you get tired more quickly than other people do. Oh my God, I always need to take a nap. Figure out what's wrong with your cortisol levels. Do the healing so that you don't have to deal with that all the time. You know what I mean? Go to the doctor. Yes, the spiritual doctor. Yes. Go to a shaman maybe. Have some energy removed. Get some energy work done. That'll help. But also go see a therapist. And also go to an actual doctor. Don't be afraid to start working with a psychiatrist. You know what I mean? Back in the day, there didn't used to be so many pharmaceutical alternatives to ADHD meds. And now there are so many. And I use one that works for me. And it works wonders in my life. And it doesn't have the same kind of physical impacts that I really did not enjoy when I was taking meds. And so that's a blessing to me. And I'm really grateful. So, enough with the excuses as to why you have to live the life that you have to live. It's because you are choosing to. Like I said in the first part of this reading, nobody can control how much joy you allow yourself to experience. I've seen this happen a lot. You go to somebody's we're at a birthday party or something as a kid, and there's one kid who doesn't want to be there or whatever. They don't want to be around, and so they are making sure that they have a miserable experience. They are refusing to have fun. You know what I mean? Don't let that be you. I remember, I'm going to share some personal stuff for a second. When I was a kid, people know I grew up in a dysfunctional household, surrounded by a lot of unhealthy, toxic ideation. And so after being treated poorly, we were expected to just pretend to be happy. So it's like, you know, before we would go do something fun, my primary caregiver would abuse us. Whether it was verbal, emotional, mental, physical, this person would abuse us before we would go to do something fun. And we would be expected to be happy and to enjoy ourselves there. And it's like, I'm not fucking happy. You just terrorized me. I don't care where I am. Like, I'm experiencing this still. This hasn't been resolved. How am I supposed to enjoy myself? And that's logical and that's reasonable. But I was a kid back then. I was a kid. I'm thinking of one specific instance when I was a teenager. And you have to think about the kind of mind that does something like that. Like, you know that we're about to go do something that will make me happy, so you terrorize me beforehand, and then blame me when I'm not happy. And people could be like, oh, why is that kid so angry? Don't you see that there are pony rides and there's burgers and shit like that? And it's like, I don't give a shit about any of those things, because this fucking person ruined my day and is ruining my life. You know what I mean? However, I want to put it to you this way. That's all valid. That's all really, really valid. And it takes a really, really strong person and a really, really developed mind to experience all of those kinds of things. Because it's a whole other aspect. It's a whole nother level of fucking evil to do something like that and then like punish somebody and say someone's bad for not having fun or not being appreciative of this fun experience because you did something terrible to them before you got there. You know what I mean? And so for me, I'm so triggered. For me, what I'm saying is, like, at that time, I didn't have the ability to compartmentalize. And this is not, I'm making this as an example, but this doesn't apply to abuse. If you are being abused, you need to get out of that situation ASAP. I can't tell you what to do. I don't know your specific situation, but I 100% believe this is my conviction, and this is the hill I will stay on until the end. If you are being abused, you need to get out of that situation. Full stop. And so, you know, now as an adult, it's like very different situation. I don't participate in abusive relationships anymore. I take myself out of that. And I still might sometimes be hyper vigilant about it and be like, oh my God, like, is this person gonna abuse me? Stuff like that. But, you know, now it's like, that's a very different situation. Now it's like, okay, somebody upset me before I went to do this thing. Somebody upset me before a party. And let me also put it this way. I also had an ex who, like, on the night before my birthday, he was mentally and emotionally manipulating me and, like, causing a fight with me because he was bored before we went to another party. And this was my birthday. You know what I mean? And so, like, that's a different thing that I'm talking about. That's something you need to get away from. But in this case, look at it this way. Okay, I got a really upsetting phone call. I didn't win something I really wanted. I didn't get the job that I really wanted. I was bidding on a pair of shoes on eBay and I didn't get them. Or, like, there's a hating ass woman at my job and she's always annoying me, this, that, and the third. You know, all of these kinds of things. I'm not talking about abusive relationships, and I really want to make that clear. But if I'm going to a party or a dinner with my friends, or to see a concert or to see a movie, you know, and I'm just like, oh, I'm not going to be able to have fun now because this person or this thing ruined my day. That's a choice. Nobody gets to decide how much you allow yourself to enjoy your life. They can try, because those people did try to control how much I enjoyed my life. They really did, but guess what? I still didn't let them. I left home when I was 17. I left home the last time when I was 20. I was 20. I had just turned 20. It was literally... It was like a month after I turned 20. I moved and got my own apartment for the first time. I say I was 19, but that's because I had literally just turned 20. And I went back one time because I was experiencing a spiritual bottom and I really needed to like not have to worry about paying rent and not work for a little bit and just like go through my spiritual ascension process. All of that stuff happened and I was there for like 5 months and then I never went back after that. And you know, I think that even in those moments, I decided I'm not going to let this person make this what my life is. You know what I mean? Like, I was I had a lot of unaliving ideation when I was in high school and also middle school. You know, I would say that's probably why I was like emo. I was super angry. It's probably why I like was into punk music and these kinds of things and like alternative rock. That's what we called it back then. People call it emo now, but it's actually alternative rock. That's what we called it at the time. It's very different from indie rock. And the emo look that people talk about now is really like scene. Like that's what we called it back then. So I'm talking about this in 2023 and that's when I was in high school, so I know, but like emo is actually a very specific type of genre. I have learned that is like from the early new millennium, like around 2005-ish. And that's why I was all of those things, but you know, I don't let that define me anymore. The more and more recovery I do, the less and less I feel like my trauma is the definitive story and actually like my triumph is a definitive story. I'm a winner. I am powerful. I can make miracles happen. It's a miracle that I made it out of that house. You know what I mean? It's a miracle that I made it out of those abusive relationships. It's a miracle that I no longer abuse substances. It's a miracle that today I choose healthy relationships over sick ones. It's a miracle that today I say no to toxic codependent dynamics. Those are all miracles, and we need to recognize them when they show up in our lives. And that's because I choose myself today. I choose my inner child today. And like I said, you know, I work with doctors. I go see my therapist. I go see my psychiatrist. I go see my energy workers, the people who do energy work for me. I trade services with those people. Like, I do these readings. It's a full encompassing. I exercise. I do my best to have a healthy diet. Like, it's a full panel of things that I do to live my best life. And it works. It works. Because tell that kid who had to fucking go through that shit. Like, that was not an example. Like, that was not a parable. That really happened. I'm thinking of a specific time, but it happened all the time. You know what I mean? Tell that kid who thought that they were never going to make it out that that's not a fucking miracle. You can't, because it is. So to your inner child, the one who's stuck in this loop of insanity and is so afraid that they can never get out and is so scared to trust you because you've been stuck in that loop of insanity, turn to them and tell them miracles are possible, and let me show you how. Let me show you how miracles are possible. The fact that you're breathing today is a miracle. Tell you what, do we know what makes our heart beat? No, you can tell me all the science in the world, but you cannot put a name to the force of life that encompasses the miracle of what it is. There are no words. No human could ever do it. Point blank, period. You can't convince me otherwise, because I'm not an egomaniac. Miracles are possible. Miracles are possible. People escaping the Holocaust and other genocides. Miracles are possible. Refugees making it to a sanctuary country. Miracles are possible. Being undocumented as a refugee and living to graduate from prestigious universities and be a fucking business owner. Miracles are possible. And guess what? You get to decide today. You get to make this decision today in every single moment of your life. Every decision that you make. You can rewire your thinking to believe that miracles are possible. And you choose to believe and to live in a world in which miracles are possible. And not only are they possible, but they are the everyday reality. You can do that. I do it. I live a miracle every day. But you know what? I wouldn't be living in a miracle if I hadn't done the things that I needed to do to live in a miracle. If I hadn't faced my fears and the challenges that came up with them. 333 on the clock. God wants you to know. God's like, let me hear you say amen. Let me hear you say it. If I hadn't done the things necessary to live in a miracle, I'm living in a miracle. I have not picked up substances in over 3 years, almost 3.5, I want to say. I haven't had a drink in almost 5 years. Tell that teenager, you're not going to have to smoke weed in order to survive. Tell her that. Go tell her that. Because I guarantee you, I guarantee you that she's going to laugh in your face, or she's going to smile and nod and not give a shit. Write it off, or she's going to tell you, I'm never going to stop, so don't try and make me. Don't try and tell me that. Like, I'm not going to. Tell her that. And she's going to say that, I'm that same person. I can go back to being that person anytime. 11, 12 years later, it's been over 3 years, I think almost 3.5 years, since I hit a spliff, since I've ate an edible. It's been almost 5 years since my last drink. It's been 4 years since I engaged in, it wasn't indiscriminate intimacy, but like, I didn't really care about the person. I never cared very much for any of my partners, if I'm being very honest with you. I really just dated them because they liked me a lot, and I liked that. So miracles are possible, and we really are encouraged to believe in that. You know what I mean? Like, and it seems like, where is this going? Where is this coming from? This is the escape your mind, the Lemurian quartz. Believe that. Believe that miracles are possible. If nothing else you take from this, believe that's the thing that you need to take and grow from your heart out. I already told you how to do that. So those are the themes, the revelations we have coming through. Birthing a new age and break the chain. I don't need to say any more. I don't need to say any more. Birthing a new age in your life. These are the revolutions. A new life is possible, where that stuff no longer happens. because dreaming a world into being, because miracles are possible, because you decided, because you've proven to yourself that different things, a different reality is possible, tangible even, accessible. Break the chain, ancestral patterns, healing, rewriting the future. All that other shit, that don't have to come with you into this time anymore. Okay? Challenges, the devil in reverse, the high priestess. It is hard to break a habit. It's hard, but it takes like 3 weeks. No, I think they say that's 21 days. 3 months is 90 days. 21 days is a huge deal. 30 days is a really, really big deal. But 90 days, it takes 90 days. And I'm going to tell y'all, I'm just like spilling the beans. Oh my God. I really struggled with not smoking weed the first couple of months. I really wanted to. I really, really wanted to, but I had committed to just trying it out for 90 days to not do it. And then on the other side of 90 days, it became like nothing. Like literally on the other side of 90 days, I was just like, I can do this. This is nothing. That doesn't mean that when the going gets really rough, I don't want a spliff and I don't want to check out of my reality. But the more practical solution to that desire is to just change my reality in practical, meaningful ways. Tropically, we have the devil in reverse again. Tropically, we have Saturn and Uranus in Taurus retrograde. They're in Aries sidereally, and nothing's in Taurus in the 9th house sidereally, because we already know what it is. You're not going to have, these are not real problems manifesting in your physical reality. These are not real problems manifesting in your relationships, your interpersonal relationships, because anybody who's giving you trouble is not meant to be in your life, period. If they're not a blessing in your life, they're a problem in your life. And it's really just worth noting, you can get the fuck rid of them. You know what I mean? Before I had access to substances, I had access to escape my reality through the internet. And I could make myself feel good physically through overeating. That made me feel like the void was full, and I also enjoyed the foods that I liked to eat. So this is about breaking bad habits. This is about the self-limiting beliefs. You need to trust your intuition at this time, because I feel like that's the challenge, is following your intuition, following your truth, and breaking these bad habits. So there might be a lot there. I do feel like there's going to be periods of overthinking. Like I said when we talked about the mind, there's nothing to think about. You already know your principles. You already know. You've already been through it. So what is there to be confused about? What's the consternation about? You don't need to figure anything out. It's already been figured out. You already know what it is. And I think I don't think I said that we have 6 of Cups. Intimacy. You're gonna really struggle with getting what you want and handling it differently than you've ever handled it before. Because I feel that probably a lot of the times that you got what you want, you mishandled it. So you were afraid. You had these self-sabotaging coping mechanisms and patterns to fortify your self-limiting beliefs, but you don't operate from that anymore. You operate from integrity now. Five of Pentacles. Oh, how do we master? Yeah, getting what you want is going to be a challenge. Intimacy is going to be a challenge. You're going to be feeling very vulnerable, potentially, and that could feel really threatening. However, that's not actually threatening unless you are around a person who is a psychopath. People who weaponize your vulnerability are unsafe people who are on a psychopathic spectrum. Whatever their problem is, whether they are a sociopath or narcissist or have some sort of personality disorder, whatever. It's none of my business. I don't really care. Just don't interact with them. And then you're not going to have to worry so much. Like, if people show you who they are, believe them. If people come back into your life and they haven't actually changed, the first honestly, don't even wait for them. Like, okay, I'm seeing it as like they send you a message on Instagram or some shit like that, and you just feel like, no. Even if they have changed, it doesn't mean that you have to let them back into your life. You know what I mean? So there's expansion here, there's transformation here, and it's all happening in the material realm. And it's challenging with the 8th house here. It's very challenging because it can feel destabilizing, and it can make you feel like your power is being threatened, but it's not. Your power doesn't come from being quote unquote invulnerable. Your power comes from being adaptable. And actually being vulnerable is a strength. That takes a lot of strength because it's scary for most of us. We live in a world that is ran by psychopaths. It trickles down. So, let's consider that. Okay, mastery. 5 of Pentacles. 8 of Swords. 8 of Wands. A lot of 8 energy here. 10 of Pentacles. I didn't get any cups. So I think that it's not about approaching this from an emotional standpoint. It's about remembering all of the challenges that you overcame. Do I want to go back through that? I worked hard to get this. You know what I mean? Being clear of head and heart, and making decisions from that space, doing things to change your reality to the reality that you want to live in, that you want to experience, switching up how you approach life, what you contribute to life. Do what you need to do to end this cycle, period. We also have the Knight of Pentacles in the reverse. Don't run away from the challenges, lean into them, show up for them. Because that means you're showing up for you. You're showing up for your inner child. You're showing up for your shadow. That's what showing up for your challenges is about. 3 of Wands in reverse. The Tower in reverse. It doesn't need to be any chaos. It doesn't need to be a big hullabaloo. None of that is necessary. Divest your energy. Remove your energy from the mix. Don't, anything that's trying to get you hyped, that's trying to get you caught up. We're not here for that. Okay, so benefits. Right, we get 8 of Swords, a lot of 8. Ace of Cups. 9 of Cups in the Hierophant. Like I said, self-sovereignty. God wins. The devil has lost. God has won. And this is the new energy that we're coming into, newer timelines. God has won. God's grace is sufficient. Look at the Hangman in reverse. That means that that's a loosening of everything that felt stuck. It's coming loose now, and it's coming towards you. Don't let it get stuck again. Don't let it get stuck again. Okay, operate from this new frame of mind that you have adopted because of your experiences. Stop with the rigidity bullshit. It's not helping you. The dogma, it's not helping you. It never helps anyone. It's not good. It's not healthy. It's not beneficial. Learn from the past. Take what works. Leave the rest. And do try new things. But if you know that it's a dead end, stop banging your fist against it. Let it go. Six of Cups. Allow yourself to experience this intimacy, because it's going to be more powerful than anything that you've ever experienced. The more you allow, the more vulnerable you are, the more you allow yourself to experience intimacy, the more of it is that's going to come into your life that feels resonant, that makes you feel safe, that makes you feel good, that makes you feel seen, heard, felt in the deepest of ways. You're going to be very grateful for that when you actually experience it within a safe context. This is why it's so important for us to get out of the toxic relationships and dynamics. Now, I hope that you understand, like, why I approach it from the way that I do. It's not that I'm just like, I'm strict, right? I'm stern. That's because I have principles, I have integrity, I have boundaries. I am also compassionate and loving and caring, and that's why I have all of those things. Why I talk the way that I talk in these videos. It's not, I know what I'm talking about. I've been through it, and I'm going through it too. We're in this together. This is advice I need to hear too. And I will go through the challenges with you. We'll go through them together. And I'll share my insights. And you'll compare them to what you'll integrate them into what you know. Please share with me as well. I'd love to see it in the comments, how this resonates and how it plays out in your life. But you got to be honest with yourself. You got to be honest with others. And you have to stop staring into the abyss. Because you're so hypervigilant. Believe that miracles are possible. Wow, we have a lot of 8 energy here, because for next steps we have the 8 of Cups and the 8 of Pentacles in reverse. The tide is high, but I'm holding on. I'm gonna be your number one. I'm not the kind of girl who gives up just like that. I'm singing this way because my throat, I have like a lot of like mucus in my throat right now. It's like, I want to say discharge because my throat chakra is clearing. I haven't done a reading in a really long time, y'all. Not one of these kinds anyway. So there's a lot that had to come out. Believe in miracles. Stop being so rigid and dogmatic, period. I said it already. I love you all truly and deeply. Thank you for fucking with me. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the little, like, crew collective that we have going on here. It means the world to me. And I'll see you on the flippity flip. 222 on the clock is actually 022002. So that's an even more powerful palindrome. Powerful palindrome power. And see you on the flippity flip. Bye.